Okay, so here we have a Viewsat Ultra Weather Forecaster Emulator set up. On the right we have a machine with Ubuntu. On the left we have a Viewsat Ultra, and of course this is the Viewsat Ultra menu. And I've got a USB stick here. On this USB stick we have the following files. Okay, these are the Viewsat Ultra firmwares. Let it focus here. There we go. Okay, so this is 320. We've got the 322 and the factory file. Notice they're PGMs. They've already been unzipped to their raw format so that the Viewsat could use them. With this setup, you also need rq-ssp 104. Okay, pretty much any version will do, but 104 is the latest one I have. And here you've got wfemu version 22, and that comes as a RAR. Now, for some reason, Ubuntu does not unrar files natively, so I had to manually remove wfemu, the command file, from this archive with a Windows machine, and I put it on this USB stick for this demonstration, so I'm sure you could do that as well. Okay, so where should we start? First off, this file right here, it'd be nice to copy it over to the desktop. And also, let's unpack this archive, and I have already done that. And in that archive, what you see are the following files, and the most important one is this one, the x86 file. Okay, this is your RQ version. This is the command file that will run on Ubuntu i386. That's the one. That's the one you should be installing. And this is the COM file. This is also very important. So these two files are essential. Copy both these files to your desktop. Now, I've done this already. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you my desktop. Okay, so up here, I got wfemu, and I've got RQ. Now, notice that the RQ is not the full name. I renamed it because I don't want to type the full command, the name and terminal, so I just renamed the file to make it easy for this demonstration. But it is the x86 version, okay? Now, let's start terminal. Go to accessories, and then we go to terminal. So we start a terminal window, and we go, oh, here's another thing that I should point out to you guys. This is very important before we start these commands. You should go to every one of these commands that are on the desktop, right click, okay, on the properties menu, okay, go to the properties of the actual command. Sorry, that's really hard to do this and hold this camera. Okay, so go to properties and notice that there's a window that comes up, and it's permissions. Okay, the permissions are important here. Okay, so I'm going to click on permissions, and what's important is allow execution. Allow executing this file as a program. You check that and close. Okay, so I just did that for RQ, and let's also do that for wfemu just to be safe. Let's go to permissions, and it's already checked. Okay, perfect. So now, okay, what's this? Let's kill that, and let's go back to this. So now this is our terminal window, and we know those commands can execute. So how do we get to the desktop? Well, that's pretty easy. You go CD and capital D, desktop. Okay, let's see. I know it's a little out of focus. Let me see if this could focus itself. These digital cameras. Okay, I'm in my desktop. Give me a sec. Okay, there you kind of see it, okay? CD desktop. So the first command that I'm going to do is period / wfemu. There we go. Okay, notice that device PTS1. This is very important. We've got device PTS1. Now our serial port just went from TTY-S0, and for the purposes of the weather forecaster, we're going to be using device PTS1. And notice that it goes into this loop here, and it just keeps doing this, okay? And we want it to keep doing this because now what we do is we take this USB stick. Remember, we got our firmwares, and we put it into the Viewsat. Okay. We now find the remote. There we go. And let's go to system information, receiver upgrade, and we go to USB. And here are the firmwares. Okay, now the first one that we want is the factory, so I'm going to put that one on. It's, you know, just to be safe. Notice the whole time, look what's going on. wfemu, okay, is running and not doing much, just the same line over and over. We're still rebooting here on the receiver. Senses USB. It's on. There we go. Okay. So now menu. Now this is the next firmware that we got to load here. So we go to system information, and we go to, exit that, system information, receiver upgrade, USB. And now the next firmware is going to be 322. Okay. And so now we're loading 322. Still doing this on the Ubuntu machine. Remember, it's connected through serial port. Nothing substantial. Now check this out. Suddenly I got this, okay, just with the receiver rebooting itself, okay. So that's a good sign. Let's go to menu. Notice that when I'm in installation, you can't see anything. But if I jump to this menu, suddenly the serial setup pops up. If I jump back, the serial setup disappears. Okay, so don't be shocked if you don't see it right away. And then go to your serial setup. Okay, then go to network software update, network software version. Boom! This is what we're looking for. And check out what happened on the machine right here. Awesome. This is what we want. And at this point, we go to back to the menu, okay, and we now go back to the firmware and we downgrade. I know this sounds kind of weird, and this is the part that some people get really messed up with, is that you really do need to downgrade because the weather forecaster, the bulk of it is in this firmware right here, but we needed to identify the receiver with 322. So there we go. I'm going to 320, and 320 is the firmware that you use for this. I don't know if this is going to change or what, but for the moment it seems to work for me, and it's going to work for this setup. Okay, so now the receiver is rebooting itself and it's on 320. Let's see what's going on with our console here. So I just tried changing channels, and this is going on, and this is a good thing. This is a very, very good thing. because we still haven't started RQ, and RQ is going to be doing the bulk of this. Okay, so now we go to application. Okay, well, first of all, before we start RQ, there's something really important that needs to be done. And in RQ, okay, notice that there's a configuration file that I asked you guys to copy over. You see that? It's the SSP client conf. It's right here, SSP client conf. Okay, and I'm going to choose to display this file because we need to edit certain settings within it. Now, let's go to the top of this file. And the important setting that we're going to need to edit is this right here. Now, remember what it came up when we executed wfemu? The device we're using is PTS1. Now, this may change. It could be PTS3, PTS whatever. So make sure you change this after. It's kind of, you know, it's got to correspond. That's very important. And the other thing that I like to change in this file as well is background execution. Notice background execution is enabled, and I want it disabled. I want to see the window. I want to see what it's doing. I don't need the terminal window after that. I just want it to display, so I changed that to 0. But the most critical component would be to fill in your server information. And your server information would go right there. Notice it says card server, new cam dummy. That's your user and that's your pass. That's your 127.0.0.1 is your server location, and the 10,000 is your port. And that crazy number from 01 to 014 or to 14, okay, that represents an encryption key, and your server may or may not have one, or it may be the default, but there is encryption in this as well. And the EMM is optional. You can have it or you could omit it. You talk to your server administrator about that, what he prefers, okay? So anyway, I'm going to put in those settings. I'm not going to show you that. Notice that the line is actually commented out because it's got the character, the numeral in front of it. So I've actually got a line below that with my server information, which I'm not going to show you guys, of course. And let's save that with our changes. Okay, so that file just has been saved. Now our queue is ready to run. So what do? We go to Applications. We go to Terminal. Notice we start a second terminal window. That's right, because we want both of these programs executing at the same time. Now, for those of you a little more familiar with this, you could probably do it all in one terminal window, okay? So here we go. CD, desktop,